Welcome back to the HGC. We just saw our first death mosh here in Europe, and it paid off well for Tricked Esports as they are now ahead 1-0 over beGenius.
Yeah, what a great way to round out that first game. And it was looking a little bit suspect towards the end as well. beGenius seemed to have good positioning with their fights, and a lot of it got grouped up. They were winning out those last fights, but that grouping up sure came back to bite them there with that death metal.
Certainly did. Certainly did, guys. Let's go ahead and find out the battleground that we're going to for game number 2 in the best of 5 series. Now, our bans, Two Spider Queen, Brox is sold out, cannot play on those battlegrounds. Dragonshire was the first map that we just finished up, and we are going to Infernal Shrines for game number 2. It's starting to become a staple. It feels like Infernal Shrines is the main go-to for a lot of European teams.
Yeah, I think it kind of worked its way in towards the end of 2016 as one of their big comfort picks.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see it kind of continue a lot of that trend. Actually, at the beginning of HGC Europe, it was like a little less common in the earlier picks in series. I would agree with that.
It just feels European, like how fights break out.
Of course.
With the shrine sitting in the middle, just everything's kind of drawn out a little bit until a big breaking moment happens, and so it just kind of really fits the theme of how Europe plays. Now, we'll be getting ready for the draft relatively soon here. I want to mention that beGenius actually did pretty solid in that last matchup. I felt like our early game was lackluster, obviously, but they recuperated well going to the mid and the late game. And it seems like we could have a series on our hands here, especially if they continue to stay warm after what we saw there. Yeah,
I think that they probably don't want to focus too much on a slightly one-dimensional playstyle of just having so much melee confrontation going on, because that definitely came back to bite them later on in the game. And if Tricked Esports hadn't grouped up in some of those later fights, it still wouldn't have come back to bite them, with a Falstad and Valor shooting out from the outsides, shooting in from the outsides, I should say.
It's just really good for me to see positives from both sides. Tricked Esports now has aggression here in the early game. We haven't seen it much in the last few weeks. They've had obviously tougher matchups, but now it's good to see the composure that Tricked Esports could have. And the beGenius just evolving. They have adapted to play slightly here and there, but they seem to be coming together more as a team. Unfortunately, it bit them in the rear at the end because they were 2 together. But it's just cool to see that evolving happening here. All right, so here we are into the draft.
I think Dahak is still a good ban. One thing that's important to note, though, on this map, throughout HGC Europe so far, the most common bans have been Ragnaros and Tassadar. I think people value Ragnaros a lot because Punishers don't have as much health as, say, like an Immortal would on a Battlefield of Eternity. Thus, you know, you can have Molten Core live for about a reasonable time to deny a lot of that damage from a Punisher on towards a fort. But they're going to ban ETC. That's sure. Let's ban out death metal, I suppose.
Well, if history repeats itself, beGenius doesn't play much Ragnaros at all, which is so odd to see when all of other teams do play it. Tricked Esports has dabbled a few times. But the first few slots have been always identified as Dahaka, Rhaegar, Tychus, Malfurion, etc. for these teams. So Ragnaros might actually, oddly enough as it sounds, might only make it to the second phase of the draft here between these two teams. And so I would recommend keeping an eye out for that. beGenius in particular should probably ban it on the second phase if they never want to pick it up.
Could do. Definitely could. There's Tychus coming in. With ETC being banned, I wouldn't mind a Ragnaros Malfurion being picked up for Tricked Esports. Throwing Eternal onto the Ragnaros and then just kind of having a field day from there, because it's just very powerful. It's got great wave clear. Like, even just Blast Wave itself on Shrines has huge impact. Never mind living Meteor as well as Empower Sulfuras. So
I'm on board with your thoughts here, and there it is. Malfurion and Ragnaros will be selected, and they are both red. Tricked Esports looking angry.
Well, I always get a kick out of when they pick that skin and Ragnaros at the same time, because that skin is from Malfurion, is Staghelm from the Firelands, and that is the master skin of Ragnaros is themed around how he looks in the Firelands. So that was perfect synergy.
Is that when he had the fire legs?
Yes, that bit. The bit that we don't talk about.
You don't want to talk about the fire legs?
No, we don't. No.
You don't want Ragnaros to run?
No, never.
Wow.
Never. When I fought that guy in Heroic and he grew legs, actually I'd seen it before on MMO Champion, but other than that, when I saw that, a little part of me died inside. I like Firelord Ragnaros, not Tights Ragnaros.
I'm just saying, man, he looked good. beGenius to the right here. Tychus. was their first pickup. Here, you want to start getting your foundation for probably your warriors, especially if you're beGenius. In the past, we've seen them run a solid amount of Tyrael. Here is a Rhaegar, and there's Tyrael right there. So here we are. Tyrael, Rhaegar, and Tychus will be the pickup for beGenius. And now I'm wondering if their ban will be Jaina. beGenius's. Trick Esports is going to ban out Greymane just because of the solid combo that is Tyrael Greymane. It's almost a given at this point.
It's not even only that. It's the fact that we saw it yesterday being played so well on Shrines and just clean house. I think it was Misfits that was playing it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it might have been Nurok on Shrines yesterday against beGenius that had just cleared the waves so quickly on that Shrine. So it has power there, as well as the Tyrael comp that you're suggesting.
Well, with the Vola ban, I feel like beGenius is trying to force Trick Esports down the way of maybe going for the Jaina. Like they've seen it a lot in the past, which would be a good opening for beGenius to go the Newback they like so much. I hope Trick Esports picks up on this and goes a different route. They get Falstad instead here, and I wouldn't mind seeing a Warrior. And that way they can decide on what their 5th pick is a pickup. So for Warriors, we've seen them run a number of heroes. Arthas seems a little odd to me. What would you want here?
That's a good question. I wouldn't mind Johanna again, I'll be honest.
Yeah?
I really wouldn't mind Johanna too much.
Okay, there it is. Cool.
God, it's as if we know this region.
Oh my gosh, it's happening. So 4th and 5th slot here, we have Rhaegar, we have our Tychus, we have our Tyrael. Wouldn't mind seeing a second Warrior, actually. I know I've been harping on these teams running so much double Warrior, but with the Tyrael, I don't mind it as a mix-up. You can run Tyrael solo. I think you and I kind of agree that it feels a little bit awkward, unless you're some of the greats like Fnatic or even Dignitas to a degree. So a second Warrior would be good here. I actually wouldn't mind Arthas for beGenius.
A second Warrior or something in a bruisery role like a Thrall or something like that. Yeah. We're looking to tank for the win, basically. Unless he's going to be thrown onto the Tyrael and they're looking for a more sustainable tank now. If they go down a bruisery path, it would end up being tank for the win. To that point, I'm trying to think.
Does beGenius run any Zeratul? I wouldn't mind seeing Zeratul here.
I don't think they do. I don't think they've had a history of playing it, especially here.
There's that Sonya.
Sonya Lee Mei.
Again, I'm going to put it on my notes here. Sonya in big capital letters and a 0 for the O instead.
Didn't you have Varian in big capital letters?
I have Varian too. I definitely do. Not writing it right now. Nope. Okay, so we have our Johanna, our Falstad, our Ragnaros, and Malfurion. I wouldn't mind an auto attacker here, actually. I wouldn't mind Trick Esports not to go too heavy on the Warriors for once. They have a solid wave clear.
They are either looking for, I think they're looking for Remaball hero. It could be something a bit wacky. Okay, so it's Jaina. That's Crosby. So I guess now Remmer is on the Falstad and Eternal is playing the Ragnaros. Unless, because they have a lot of switch up as well. Because last game we just saw Eternal on the Falstad, which is a bit more uncommon in my brain.
Sure.
And then actually having Remmer on the, what was it? It was something, hitting things. Sonya. That's the one, hitting things. I like how that reminds me of Sonya. So what was the last pickup?
Doesn't she do this motion though? She takes both swords and hit. Like she's not a one thing. It's
she?
Full slash. Full slash. Okay, so Jaina be the last pick here. It's okay. I think I would have preferred to have more of an auto attacker. Granted, Falstad can fill that role anyways. I just feel like Jaina, it's going to have a hard time actually hitting the strong Ring of Frost here on the lineup that beGenius has. You have your Sonya that's going to be kind of all over the place doing her own thing. Tyrael has mobility. Lee Min can bounce around. Basically, you're looking to hit Tychus when he goes into Odin form.
I think they're just looking for roots into Frost, Ring of Frost into Sulfura Smash.
Sure.
I think all of that, coupled up with the AoE damage that Ragnaros and Jaina bring on the Shrines, I think is going to give them a good amount of control there, especially if Johanna is forward positioning herself, and then Condemn can even just drag them back into some of that combo. So I think it's a very good setup that Trick Esports has.
I see your point there. All right, you're right. All right, well, we'll see what we go into in game number 2 here. We're going to Infernal Shrines, beGenius facing off against Trick Esports.
All right, so let's take it as we have spawning 2 at the left-hand side. It is Tricked Esport with Crosby going to be playing Jaina. We will have Nappy on Malfurion, Alex the Pro G on Johanna, Remaballer on Ragnaros, and Eternal once again on that Falstad. So Again, slight change-ups in the roles that I'm used to, but I think it can work out well, because we saw Rema Sonya just before, and it did work up until Condemn kind of made his day bad.
Oh, on the far right, beGenius here. Curveball playing Li Ming, one of his best heroes. Unstable will be playing Rhaegar. Xanatan is going to show off the Tyrael. We also have Tank for the win. Here on the top right, heading up as Sonya, and then Tychus will be our last pickup here. I think I have changed my mind on the Jaina pickup. She has the best skin on right now, so I'm actually very down.
Wait, which is the skin?
It's the Red Winterfell skin. It's so good. She's Santa's waifu. It's beautiful.
She's Santa's waifu?
Yeah, man. I love that skin. It's so sick.
I guess so. I mean, I was going to go down an odd path there, but I'm going to
I think my path was odd enough already. So.
It was going to get weird, trust me. Anyway, never mind. So we're going to have that dynamic again where it's going to be Johanna versus Sonya. And our Sonya is going for a little bit of a different build to start things off, going actually into that block. So reducing a lot of damage from the auto attacks, which is going to be great if Ragnaros is in her face. Because technically it's also an auto attack full stat as well, so good there. But Sulfuris and Ragnaros' auto attacks, even I should say, are very slow but very meaty, right? Yep. So that soaks up really good damage. So I think that Ragnaros might be one of the targets they want to go for.
Yeah, it also just gives her a lot of control over the Shrine, which is one of the biggest deals, is you're able to have Johanna sit in the front line longer, because that fall stat will be welling on her, and then whenever Ragnaros does apply his auto attacks, as you mentioned, they are meaty, the Sulfuris Smash will bring in spell damage, so that will be a bit painful as is, so you just want to be able to, you want to be able to put yourself in a spot where you sustain through no matter what, and that block is very helpful. Okay, so we continue our rotations. Alex Aproji will be the leader here. Tank for the win, though, get some damage on Rimmer.
Now, interesting to note is that we already have Winter's Reach for Crosby as our level 1 talent. Would you like to see him continue down the machine gun talent, or would you like to see him Hurricane?
Gotta be careful there.
Or would you like to see him go down the more kind of, I just want to blow people up off the Ring of Frost combo? What do you think?
I like the machine gun build on this battleground in particular, especially with Malfurion being here. He has a scouting drone set up, so he has the vision for his teammates. Now, Arcane Intellect is pretty solid when you want to just burn blizzards on top of that shrine. So there's a case for both, but I prefer the machine gun build, especially with Sonya being in the front line. She is going to be on your face at some point, so getting value out of it will be helpful. So there is the pickup.
Yeah. Good start for the machine gun build go-to. Not even necessarily, as Johanna's just going to kind of slip away there. Don't even necessarily need the mana regen talent, I would say, at level 7. I mean, it's good with the machine gun build talent, don't get me wrong, but again, you've got a Malfurion behind you with the innovates, right? So technically, you could go for something else, but we'll probably see the full hog.
All right, well, here we go. Continue spins, and the team's Tank for the win, finally getting on this Arcane Punisher and the minions. But with that clear from Alex Aproji and a Rimmer Brawler, it's very difficult to contest, especially when you're behind. 39-9 right now. Finally, eSport finish it up, and they are awarded the first Punisher of the game.
Really strong seizing of that location. Very difficult for beGenius to really react to it at all. It comes back to Arakeen dying up towards the top as well. It really doesn't help their case when you lose someone just before a shrine is about to pop. At least they've baited it over nicely. This is an Arcane Punisher, but for all intents and purposes, it's really not getting anything done. They didn't even get towers off of that.
Well, that's because Trick Esports has elected to actually go to the top lane instead. They've put their fall set and their Ragnaros up here, which can apply massive damage. Tychus was a third player, which prevented the Punisher from being burned down by it.
Do you know why this is so clever?
Why is it so clever?
Because the shrine that is potentially could be spawning in the top next would then be open for them to actually get a guaranteed fort of the second Punisher.
Yeah.
So that is very cool to see that kind of prioritization for Tricked Esport. Of course, now they should probably focus their attention towards bot lane, get that rotation going down there, try and open up that wall with that 3-man, and if they do, they'll be sitting pretty. But it looks like they're not moving there. What
you're alluding to is that the mid fort, although even if you take it down, you get the experience, it's actually not really worth it in terms of map control. You want to stretch your opponents thin, and if they're able to sit in the middle of the map and protect it, they can move to the they can move to the south side and defend relatively well. If you open up the top side, suddenly the middle and the bottom side become these large stretches of defense, and they have to move all the way across the map to defend. So yeah, that's a really good point there.
Oh, actually, my point was more narrow-minded than that, but you looked at the full picture. So
that's why we're a good team, man.
I'm loving it.
We get to work together. You're the fullback, and I'm the running back. That's real sports. Stop talking about that. All right, so Trick
I don't know what you just said.
Continues the aggression here. Falls down in the top lane. A little bit of a head here. And in terms of experience, Trick Esports is looking good because they got those turrets that we were talking about earlier. In terms of build, we are going the full Icelands build. Level 7 talent has picked here. Very helpful. 4, really reducing that cooldown. That's a major reason why you want to pick it up there, because you keep shelling out those Qs.
Yep. So Crosby just cleaning on up. And, you know, that's why we saw the Jaina ban come in towards game number 1. The fact that Crosby seems to be so much more comfortable on this. Now, as you can see, down towards that bottom lane, we haven't seen Tricked eSport open up that wall like I was kind of hoping that they would, to then get as much value off of this Punisher as possible if they were able to succeed with it.
But it still works out, because Falstad in the top lane can hang out up there. They have Knights pushing already. That forces beGenius to come defend it, which allows Tricked eSports to rotate down and get this free lead here. Look at them. They have 15 minions to the 0 of their opponents.
Yeah, look how quickly
they're playing 3 up there. beGenius is so worried about the top lane. They move in for a rotation on Falstad so they can get their own push going, because they're a little bit behind experience.
I like that beGenius is trying to find value elsewhere, though, knowing that they're not going to try and get that unstable, though.
That's not value.
Down.
That's anti-value right there.
Yeah, ouch. I mean, at least they got a tower. I'm looking on the bright side of things. What's important to note while these fights go on is that at level 4 we do have Flame Ward for Ragnaros not catching fire. So he's understanding that Li Ming is probably his biggest threat.
Ooh, good pick.
Yeah, that is a good pick. An attempt at a Gust, but it doesn't quite save him. So he's understanding that Li Ming is going to be the bigger threat to him and spell damage compared to actually needing the resistance against any all damage.
Well, look at the other side here. Level 10 has hit for beGenius. They are grabbing Wrath, Sanctification, Ancestor Healing, Wave of Force, and Odin. And they actually come on pretty well here in the level 10. I think the level 10 is slightly better for Tricked eSports, but there is always a chance that it misses. And by the way, we have Falling Sword instead of Blessed Shield.
We do.
So
it's a poor man's stage dive. There you go. And it's like, oh, why can't I jump as far as you, ETC, please?
Is that what Johan sounds like?
No, that was that was my disappointed Cockney accent.
Pick off on Tychus up here as Crosby and Eternal will get the engagement. Back to the original point though, beGenius does have tools here. If there is a big Ring of Frost miss because of that Sanctification, Sony can start to plow through the backline relatively well. It just comes down to Jaina accidentally or Ragnaros missing Sulfura Smash that and Falstad's Mighty Gust not being up, and then beGenius is good to go in the fight.
Yeah.
God, there's so many things that they have to get through before their fight becomes scary.
There is a lot. Of course, make sure to join in the conversation with the hashtag HGC and hashtag Heroes Olympics. Who can jump further, ETC or Johanna? We already know the answer, but if you've got any more candidates for who can jump further, I'd love to hear them.
Well, the Javelin thrower is definitely Tyrael, man. He throws that Eldruna all the time. That sword is probably really heavy. That Javelin in real life, not so much.
Hashtag Heroes Olympics. What is wrong with me?
Tychus getting picked again.
Oh.
He went to the top lane and he barely overextended. Eternal was sitting in this bush. They catch him with the power slide and then Rimmer, or the hammering, and then Rimmer followed up with the final kill there. Tychus, unfortunately, having a bad day, man.
Yeah, and it is Arakeen currently playing it, right? He's not having the best of series. It seems like we constantly come back to Arakeen, unfortunately for him, as kind of one of the weaker links on the team of beGenius, unfortunately. He does kind of get picked off from time to time. Last game it was on Zul.
Yeah. If Arakeen before coming into the HGC, I felt like he was more of a skill shot hero. I saw him play a lot more Li Ming, a lot of Jaina. Now, Dan's in trouble on the bottom. Alex is going for the kite. He's going to pop his Sank, the Falling Sword, to get behind him and catch him on the Eldruin. Here's a shield and a big hit to the face. Alex Aproji getting another takedown. But it seems like Arakeen's changed his role slightly here for beGenius, and it's just been hurting the last couple of weeks as Kirwa has become the main mage for this team.
That was just good forward planning there from Tricked eSport, making sure that, yes, they're sacrificing Falling Sword, but actually, you know, if you're a Johanna player out there, sometimes you probably just navigate, or a lot of people for a long time navigated to Blessed Shield, but Falling Sword is big damage and a very short cooldown compared to most heroics. So you can really get away with using it for a single kill.
Eternal comes in with the Mighty Gust. We're gonna have Sony in the back line. Rhaegar gets burned down. Tank for the win, just hoping to live this fight, but he's still continuing to put this down. But a pick off on Falstad here. Nice job by Danatan. Here comes Kirwa. Oh, the Molten Core does get interrupted there by the Wave of Force. Could Rimmer fall? Tank for the win coming in for the gauge. There is the spin as well. Kirwa continuing to hit orbs. Danatan still in the front line. They are chasing. They look for more, but the Falling Sword to Falling escape there as they dive back to the fort.
Kirwa was begging for another kill. And here we're going to have Molten Core just kind of try to delay this shrine from being taken, put some damage on towards beGenius. But it comes back to what we've said almost every single week. Get Kirwa on Li Ming. He's actually just really good at it.
He's like stupid good.
Yeah, it's probably the strongest hero in that arsenal that they have available to beGenius, as we've seen it throughout HGC Europe.
Yeah.
So I really like him on it. Big fan.
The only problem is that beGenius actually has the lowest KD ratio in the game at 0.55 in the HGC. So you have this hero that's so good at getting resets, but the rest of the team has to come together and get those resets. But still, even then, if they're not getting the kills, Kirwa can be a pleasure to watch on Ling Ming. Continued aggression occurs for our teams. Erakeen has popped Odin. Alex Proji taking the damage. Ragnaros in the top left, sneaking a few more of the minions here, 24-11.
It was Mystical Spear instead of Life Funnel here for our Sonya. So kind of going down the path of where you expected from Tricked eSport, but Tank for the Win is going to be utilizing this. That's a lot of damage on towards Crosby. Likewise, Alex Proji is going to end up going down. Here comes Killer
about to go off.
Back lines there as Rema Baller. Oh, and a great gust. Is they going to be able to save Rema? He tries to go behind the wall and does save himself. But that was a triple kill for a very, very useful situation.
Massive moment there for beGenius. Getting the triple kill, as you mentioned, is something they needed there to stay in this game. Because remember, if this Punisher does go over to Tricked eSport, their keep could be in damage, as beGenius would have to be forced to defend that.
Yeah.
Now they get their own pressure. They push in the fort, and they actually tie up the game. Inexperience, and they're going to get a lead here, because they're going to be able to grab a fort and maybe get more pickoffs.
And this is why we've been singing the praises of Kirva's Lee Ming. If you allow him with the rest of the team, as you said before, you know, they need to come together. They really came together on that shrine.
They did.
You saw Lee Ming powering out the damage from the back lines there. If we take a look at her numbers at the moment, 25,000 compared to the closest on her team, Erakeen at 20,000. But she is ahead above everybody on her team right now.
Erakeen getting caught out, though, right above here. He's being chased away. If a Sulfur Smash came out, he would have been dead. Luckily, Unstable shows up, and Rimmer doesn't go for the engage. But Erakeen is lagging from behind a tad bit there to finish off the push there to get the experience. Be careful, man. That team was looking for you. Tricked eSports has shown they want to pick him off.
Let's see what's going to happen down towards this camp, as Falstad is flying in here to try
Material.
and... Uh-oh.
Ring of Frost goes out. It's going to hit a couple members. Kirwa on the back. Here we go. The Falstad going to be following up on the kill on Unstable. Going to be able to trade here for a 2-for-1, though. Erakeen unfortunately falls. It's still a 3-for-1, and beGenius losing this fight. Kirwa attempting to do something. Eternal gets away with the hair on a chin and his bird, and we're going to have beGenius losing all 4 members.
Eternal Playmaker getting that gust on 4 of the members as this... did they have the scouting drone there to scout that was being done? They must have known it was being done anyway, so that's fine. So they understood the position that their opponents were in. They basically gusted them into a pocket where they were unable to get out. They had to fight, so very nice by Tricked eSport.
Yeah, it was. And you have to wonder, with dominance being over there for beGenius, if Kirwa was able to get that kill on Falstad, could he have turned that around and salvaged the fight? Eternal with the heads-up play to get away from Lee Ming, allowing his team to secure those 4 takedowns. So now we are at a point where beGenius is in trouble. If they lose another Punisher round, that could be a keep going down for them, especially with the push potential available for Tricked eSports. And if a keep goes down, Ragnaros Molten Core could equal game.
I like that Numbing Blast has become more of a staple for Jaina players at the moment in compared to Northern Exposure, because that little bit of extra lockdown can mean the difference between landing a Ring of Frost and not landing a Ring of Frost, or landing a Sulfura Smash and not landing a Sulfura Smash. So I think it's really cool, instead of just hoping that 25% extra damage without the lockdown is going to kill them off.
Has that been a staple in EU instead of the Numbing Blast?
A bit more.
Exposure? Yeah?
I would say like 50-50.
So I just want to throw out there, a strat has been stolen from North America because we've been having Numbing Blast for a long time.
Oh, okay.
NA strats now in Europe. Big deal, guys. Big deal.
I think you'll find we indoctrinated you into Europe, so you can't pull these things out anymore.
I'm the adopted guy. I got to make a couple jabs here and there, you know?
Okay.
All right, continue aggression for Tricked eSports. This Punisher is massive for both teams. One for Tricked eSports, so they can maybe go for a win. And on the other side, beGenius can just stay in this game longer and potentially get set up for a winning scenario.
That's a great location to throw down Holy Ground. Sanctification as well is coming in there on Crosby at the moment. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, though, because Tychus has already gone down in the back lines. Kirva being assassinated here by the Eternal, bringing him down. That's perfect, because that takes so much of the wind that sails here from beGenius. Speaking of wind, that's going to be gust of wind on towards 2 members here. Danatan tank for the win, scrambling against the defense here with Eternal, trying to find extra damage. That's a good Holy Ground once again. Alex the Proji is going to have to back out on this left-hand side, but taking out Lee Ming was so important for Tricked.
That it was. It became a brawl after that, but with Malfurion still being alive here for Tricked eSports, they start to win out that brawl because they have the sustain, and beGenius just forfeits the Arcane Punisher, the massive, scary one that nobody wants to give up. Will be pushing down the middle lane. For Trade, they are looking for a keep.
Eternal has played a hurricane of a full stab this game. Just like very well. Thank you. Very well played indeed. You know, not only that first gust, but also getting on towards Li Ming towards the back. Li Ming, when even a ranged assassin is really up in her face, has a hard time of actually dealing with it. Never mind Calamity and things like that. Landing a skill shot becomes pretty irritating when somebody's right up next to her.
Yeah, it's very difficult to hit those magic missiles. Well, the keep does go down. Look at Rimmer here on the left side. Potentially could use his Molten Core to go for an engage, but will be pulling away for the moment here. Arakeen sieging at the same time. The Punisher does get its keep. All after before the start to pull away. Oh, but there's a chill here on Danatan, and he gets focused down, so Fierce Punch comes out, but big Ancestor Healing and Sanctification not up for 8 seconds here. Danatan forced retreat. Here goes Eternal for the Gust. They are looking at Arakeen. He is in trouble. Still no Sank for 1 more second, and that is going to be a dead Tychus. Danatan just didn't have the heroic to save him.
When the epic mount comes out, you've spent all that gold on your epic mount, you're happy with it, you're proud with it, and that was a great play coming out there from Eternal once again. Even if it's just to get 1 kill, it's enough to then really snowball a situation. And heroic difficulty has been taken for Ragnaros, so he's really going to take even more men than just 5 to kill off.
The entire team of Trick eSports is set up in this bush down here in the bottom right corner, seeing if maybe a member will rotate down unsafely. But beGenius, that is the name of the game for them right now. Play safe. Wait for your Tychus. Although we do have Jaina going in for rotation. Alex Proji here as well. Falling Sword in 3 seconds. They could go for an engage, get a pick off. However, a lot of mobility on the opposing team here with Rhaegar and Wolf form. Eternal is down here in the bottom, just soaking a tad bit here. Ready to fly in. That's basically what he's doing here. He's not in vision, so he can fly in and help for engage.
That was very, very close there. Danatan launching himself out with Eldarins, and will make sure that he's just keeping himself alive. Absolutely has to stay 5 on 5 at the moment. They need to soak themselves level 20. It's going to be difficult up to the top lane because it's so far pushed out for beGenius, so they're going to have to look towards middle mostly, and then bottom lane to find that experience, but they can't rival the Shrine.
Yeah, this is unfortunate, because Trick eSports, when they get ahead on the Shrine phase, they can clear it pretty well. They have their Blizzard, they have Ragnaros here, they even have Johanna to force a scenario, and then they have False and the Mighty Gust, so
looking for a fight.
This is painful for beGenius.
They were looking to just kind of bait out into a position, I suppose, and wait for them to come along to them, but Trick eSports should know that that's not going to be in beGenius's playbook. They are not going to head down to the Shrine and try and contest it. They're just going to look for value elsewhere. That's why you see Falstad even just sat up towards the top at that keep, because he knows it's quite low.
And Johanna, she scattered it. Look at this.
Yeah.
She walks in.
This is really clever. Just leave a few down to that Shrine. You know you're going to take it. Keep your Gust, your Disengage tool to make sure that they don't get this keep to the top left. And Alex Proji for a bit more sustainability, and he has Indestructible if he gets in trouble.
Yep, they can just clear this up without much problem here. There are 3 members here for the defense, while all 5 are here for beGenius. The Shrine continues to get finished, while in the middle lane, Trick eSports also has a mercenary camp pushing the keep lane with catapults, so they are in great spot. All they do is sit pretty and not die.
Now, I think ideally what they really would have liked is if the beGenius was to stick around for a little bit longer, Ragnaros could have tried to rotate up to the fort location and maybe gone for heroic difficulty Molten Core up there. You could see him moving up for a moment when they were at 30 minions against 0, but they realized beGenius was going to back off, and they'll just take this Punisher and run with it.
beGenius trying to force 20 here before they do get in the fight. This is a fight for their life here. Punisher head in the bottom right. Heroic difficulty up. Mighty Gust available. Ring of Frost.
They have to make sure they either save this keep somehow or interrupt Remmer as soon as he gets near it, because if Molten Core goes down, they are going to be in a world of hurt, and they're not delaying it enough here, Trick.
Mighty Gust pushing away everyone here, just setting themselves up for success. Rimmer immediately here will be able to set up on this Molten Core. The Punisher heading straight to the core. Didn't even start to use it yet. Rimmer finally being engaged upon. Ring of Frost comes out. All damage on core is called here for Trick eSports to continue the aggression. Oh, big repulsion though from Kirwa. Crosby is in trouble on the right side, and we're going to have Kirwa starting to go off. Alex Proji low on health as well, but the core continues to fall. 18% down to 15. The Punisher's still here. The final attack. Wait a minute. Can they hold it? Alex Proji is indestructible in the Punisher? Yes. They will get the kill. Close defense there. from beGenius, but Tricked eSport will walk away with a 2-0.
Yeah, that defense was much closer than I was expecting it to be when they actually got to that core. The repulsion, as we were mentioning, because you have to stop Molten Core from going down with heroic difficulty, the repulsion was key.
Yeah.
Absolutely key, but, you know, too little, too late, I suppose.
A little bit too late there. Man, Li Ming is so scary to walk into when you're trying to finish off a core. We'll get ready for game number 3 here. Tricked eSport taking on beGenius.